Okay, welcome back to Rhino Level 1 training. We're going to get to exercise 2, display options. So for this one, we're going to open the model camera.3dm. So I'm going to open up Rhino. Here's the file here, but if you haven't found it yet, you're going to go to File, Open. You're going to figure out exactly where you put your Level 1 training manual and your model folder. And I'm going to go ahead and list this. And actually, let's go to Detail. And I'm looking for camera. Here it is. And there we go. So the point of this exercise is to figure out how to utilize the interface for viewing our 3D model. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the top viewport active. That's this viewport right here. So all I need to do is click inside of it. Notice that this viewport is active. It is blue. These other three are not blue. However, if I go to perspective and click within it, now that's blue. So I'm going to go back to top. I'm going to go to the view menu, viewport layout, and I'm going to say split horizontal. That's going to allow me to split this top viewport, or this quadrant of 4 viewports, into 2 separate viewports horizontally. So the next thing I want to do is I want to make the front viewport active. I'm going to go to View, Viewport Layout, Split Vertical. And then I'm going to go to the right viewport, View, Viewport Layout, Split Vertical. Alright, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 viewports. The next thing that I want to do is I want to right click on the top viewport title. Let's go ahead and do it on this one here. Actually, let's do it on, just to stay consistent, let's do it on this one here. So instead of top, instead of setting my view to top, I'm going to say set it to bottom. And then the next thing I want to do is I'm going to move my cursor to the edge of a viewport until I see the resizing cursor. I'm going to hold the left mouse button down and drag the bar, and then that's going to allow me to make some changes to these 2 viewports here. So I'm going to go ahead and scooch this over, something like that. I'm going to scooch this one over to something like that. Okay. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to adjust this. I'm going to go to the view. I'm going to go to view. I'm going to go to zoom. And I'm going to say zoom extents. Okay. Actually, let's do it from the front view. So view, let's do that again. Zoom extents. Okay, so now that is in full view. This one, I'm going to call this one my left view. So I'm going to set to left. So I've got left, front, right, and this one I'll set to back. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different orthogonal views, 6 different elevations of my camera. Here is the 3D perspective of it. And here in the front viewport, I'm going to make that one active. I'm going to go to View. I'm going to go to Zoom. And I'm going to now say, actually, I'm going to go to Set Camera and Synchronize Views. So now each one of these views is zoomed in such a way where it's zoomed into the level that this one is at right now. So if I zoomed out in this one and said View, Set Camera, Synchronize Views, all of the rest of the orthogonal or elevation or plan views will shrink to be the same thing. However, if I go back to front, view, zoom, zoom extents, so that way it's fully encompassed here in this view, and then say view, set camera, synchronize views, everything else will follow suit. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to practice the zoom window button. So let's go to the view menu, zoom, And then we'll do zoom window. And I'm going to do it right here. I'm going to just click and drag window. So from one corner to another corner, that's going to allow my camera to zoom in exactly into the camera 3D model in that exact point. Let's say I want to select something here on my perspective viewport. Let's select this button, this shutter release. I'm going to say view, zoom, selected, and it's going to zoom in to that specific piece of geometry here in this model in this viewport. Okay. And then to rotate in the perspective viewport, all I need to do is click and drag with the right mouse button. Now notice, because I had just zoomed into this specific shutter release, now that this is orbiting around it, it's actually centered its focus on that shutter release, because I selected it and I said zoom into that thing, and then now it's hyper focused on that thing. So if I zoomed out, and let's say I go to the lens itself, view, zoom, and zoom selected. Now if I go to orbit, Rhino is hyperfixated its camera to the lens, right? It is in main focus, even if I deselect this thing, right? This is still its main focus. So use that combination of selecting something. We're going to set, we're going to say zoom, selected, and then start orbiting around it. Start zooming in and out from it, and notice that it is hyper focused on that item. Okay, that's going to be super beneficial if you are starting to get lost, you're too far away from an item. So let's double click, let's maximize and restore a viewport. So we're going to double click the viewport title. This is going to maximize this viewport, and then I'm going to double click it again, and it'll minimize it, going back to all of these viewports here. And that's about it for this exercise. All right. If you have any questions about this exercise, leave a comment down below, and thank you very much.